This Roblox family may seem like an innocent and loving family, but in reality, a curse was placed on his family, which would result in this family being trapped in hell forever. And this, ladies and gentlemen, is a story of the Smiles family. And hey, what's up everyone? Welcome back to a brand new video. And yeah, you heard me right there. Today we're going to be talking about the Smiles family, and I'm going to tell you the entire story, lore, and how everything started. And I'm not going to lie, a lot of people have been requesting me to do this video. And if you're a new viewer and don't know what I do, well, I like to do breakdown videos on popular Roblox myths and give everyone the full story. And today I'm going to tell you the full story of the Smiles family. But before we can dive into it, I would appreciate if everybody could subscribe and like. We're on the road to 10,000 subscribers, and I can't lie, we're getting pretty close. So I appreciate all the support, and yeah, let's dive right into it. So first things first, let's talk about how this whole thing even started. So all the Roblox accounts associated with the Smiles family were all created on November 11th of 2018. And the Smiles family group and game both got created on November 21st of 2018. Now for around half a year, the Smiles family didn't really gain any traction in the myth community. But soon everything would change on August 2nd of 2019. Because this is when Flamingo decided to drop a video about the Smiles family. And thanks to that video, the Smiles family is now what it is today. An infamous Roblox myth that will forever be remembered in the books. So now you know how the entire story came together. Now let's talk about the family members of the Smiles family. So you have the father, whose name is Robert Smiles, and the wife known as Nancy Smiles. And the four children of the Smiles family is Leo Smiles, Matthew Smiles, Claire Smiles, and Seth Smiles. Now this whole story starts off with Robert Smiles, who is the father of the entire family. So when Robert was a child, he had a very abusive father, and unfortunately his sister died to unknown reasons, and his father did not handle the deaths very well. Every single day, Robert's father will insult Robert, saying that he wishes it was him that died and not his sister. So Robert had a pretty rough upbringing, but eventually as he got older, he fell in love with someone named Nancy Smiles, and together they would both get married. But they needed a new place to live, and that's when Robert Smiles decided to look around, see if there's a new place that the family could move into, because they wanted to have children. And that's when Robert found an island called Halam Island. Now before the Smiles family moved onto this island, there were two twin brothers that mysteriously died on the island, and the twin brothers' name was Roy Joe and Lloyd Joe. And after the twin brothers died on the island, that's when Robert and Nancy Smiles decided to move to the island, and there they would have four children, also known as Leo Smiles, Matthew Smiles, Seth Smiles, and Claire Smiles, and together they will all live on this island. And really all was well, there was no problems for many years. But unfortunately one day, while Nancy Smiles and Leo Smiles, aka the oldest child, they were off the island driving somewhere, and they both mysteriously got in an accident and passed away. And this broke Robert Smiles. It affected his mental state so much, and after Leo Smiles and Nancy Smiles were buried on Cemetery Island, Robert went crazy. He was trying to find a way to revive both of them. Now this is the part in the story where I need to introduce you to a new character. So millions of years ago, there was a meteorite that struck Earth, and inside this meteorite was an alien-like creature by the name of Diamond Eyes. And back in 1936, during a masquerade, which is like a party with masks, 40 people died in that party thanks to Diamond Eyes. So this masquerade party actually took place on Halam Island many years before the Smiles family moved there. And Halam Island was actually the place where Diamond Eyes was living. So there was a masquerade party on top of a house on Halam Island, and there was somebody attending the party who I mentioned before, and his name is Lloyd Joe. And he was incredibly depressed because recently his twin brother Roy Joe died from drinking too much. So Diamond Eyes was able to manipulate Lloyd Joe, just setting off the gas, and the gas exploded the entire house, which killed 48 people in the masquerade party. And that's when the island was left to be abandoned. But when the Smiles family moved in, this upset Diamond Eyes because she thought that the island was for herself and herself only. So this is why she put a curse on the Smiles family. So Diamond Eyes had a plan. You see, she caused the car accident which killed Leo Smiles and Nancy Smiles, and she knew that Robert Smiles would go crazy and try finding answers. Now the dead spirit of Roy Joe is a minion of Diamond Eyes, and Diamond Eyes was able to use Roy Joe to go find Robert and make a deal with him. The deal was that Robert had to kill a man in order to revive Nancy Smiles and Leo Smiles, but Robert called off the deal because he thought it was just too crazy. And this obviously upset Diamond Eyes, so she possessed Robert, which made Robert lose his train of thought. And during this whole incident, he went into a panic episode because his possessed mind was forcing him to kill his own kids. So he's running around trying to kill his own kids that were still alive, which is Matthew Smiles, Seth Smiles, and Claire Smiles. But eventually Robert was able to snap out of it, and he screamed to his kids to run away and escape him. Then Robert takes an axe and slices his head off so that he would die. And then the boiler in the house explodes, burning down the entire house. And luckily the kids were able to escape. But while the kids escaped and went off the island, Diamond decided to revive Robert so that she could continue torturing Robert. And for many years, Robert Smiles would be forced to live on this island. Now this is the part in the story where I need to introduce another character. So this guy is known as Dan Stickman, and he used to be a very old friend of Robert Smiles. And when he found out about how Robert Smiles died, he went to the island to go pick up the kids, and he will later take the kids under his wing and raise them. So it turns out that Dan Stickman runs a diner, and that's where the kids were working at. And for many years, things were good. The kids were raised under Dan Stickman, and they were in good hands. But soon, everything would change when Flamingo arrived to the diner. So while Flamingo was there visiting the place talking to the kids, out of nowhere, Diamond Eyes met Flamingo. And she made a deal with Albert, and she said that if Albert were to kill the rest of the Smiles family, she would give back Flamingo's old Roblox girlfriend by the name of DHYRBFYTY. So if I rushed that, I was on my 10th try trying to pronounce that name. But either way, that's when Flamingo backs out the deal. So then Diamond Eyes kidnaps Seth Smiles, Matthew Smiles, and Claire Smiles. And this is when all hell broke loose. So together, Flamingo and Dan Stickman, they went back to the Halam Island because that's where the kids were. Now before I can get into the finale of what happens, I will highly suggest watching this Flamingo video first to figure out everything, because the way Flamingo made this video, it was awesome. This is a work of art. But if you don't care about checking out that video, well, let me just tell you the finale of the Smiles family. So when Flamingo and Dan Stickman arrive to the island, Dan Stickman takes out a gun and they go and find the kids, and they're actually able to find them. But then that's when Diamond Eye stops them, and there was an epic fight scene that happens in the video. But something tragic happened because Flamingo was about to get crushed by a pillar, and it seems like all was over for Flamingo until Matthew Smiles came to the rescue and pushed Flamingo out the way and took the hit of the pillar, which sadly resulted in his death. Then after that, another tragic thing happened in which Dan Stickman gets turned into a stone, which results in his death also. And now it just seems like people are dying and there's no way to defeat Diamond Eyes. And soon Flamingo got possessed by Diamond Eyes and he was about to kill the kids. But then luckily Flamingo was able to snap out of it, and he grabbed Diamond Eyes and threw her into a pit, and the pit would kill Diamond Eyes. And that's how Flamingo was able to save the day. But sadly, to end the story, sacrifices were needed to be made. Dan Stickman and Matthew Smiles gave up their lives so that Claire Smiles and Seth Smiles would be completely fine. Now when I saw the finale video by Flamingo, I'm not gonna say too much, but maybe I let out a few tears and whatnot. And just like that, that is the end of the Smiles family. And I'm not gonna lie, this might be one of the best myth stories I've ever heard because everything is so well detailed, and thankfully the person who created this myth is not a horrible person. So this is a story that will definitely live on forever. And just like that, that's the end of today's video. If you guys did enjoy this video, please consider subscribing and liking. It really helps out with the channel. I'm gonna be making more videos like this. And comment down below any other Roblox myth/creepypastas you want me to talk about. And if I choose your topic, I'll 100% give you a shout out. And yeah, I hope you all have a great day and peace out.